It's been a couple of days since the Toronto Blue Jays came as close as you could possibly get in winning the franchise's third championship. We are going to be going through the past 72 hours since Game 7, as well as what can be expected for the season ahead. How can Trey Yesavage maintain this meteoric rise for next season and beyond? And speaking of next season and beyond, will that include Bo Bichette in a Blue Jays uniform? This is Voice of the Fans Canada.
You are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans.
Oh, Canada.
For Tuesday, the 4th of November, I'm Randy Katarey. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope all is well, and thank you so much for joining us. What a couple of weeks it has been throughout the city, throughout the country, as Canadians experienced another World Series appearance by the Toronto Blue Jays. It was 32 years since the Jays last made the World Series, and the team couldn't have come closer. Here to help foresee what happens next, Tony Antoniou is here. Tony, how are you?
I'm okay, Randy. I'm okay. We have to add the Springer home run to your to the intro for Voice of the Fans Canada eventually.
Ooh,
we gotta get that. Okay?
Yeah, no,
Is that a good idea?
no, that is a fantastic idea. Yeah, because. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just watching the intro. I'm like, it's time to add something new to that.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you, and I think Neel Katarey is going to agree with you as well. Neel, what do you think? I think we need to refresh the intro video there.
Oh, that definitely needs to be on there, but I think the runner-up should be Scherzer cussing out Schneider on the mound.
Yeah, that took. Did it really take stones? I mean, so many things to talk about during this playoff run, guys. Why don't we have a little fun and talk about Scherzer? It was a one-year experience, and it's a flip of a coin, maybe, if he returns. Think all of us think that he is going to hang him up, but Scherzer getting into it with Schneider. Why don't we start with that? Is it really that of a moment? Really?
Oh.
He's an intense guy and he wants to stay out there. What's wrong with that?
No, I loved that moment personally. That was easily a top 3 kind of game for me. Of the playoffs. I loved that start by Scherzer because, all of us here, we're up in age a little bit. We're at least Scherzer's age or higher. And so to see
well, two of us are, Neel. You're still.
Well, hey, I'm Scherzer's age as well, close enough.
No, you're younger. You're younger, young man. You just turned 40.
He's got a year on me. He's got a year on me. But
He's got a
that
year.
being said, I just turned 40 myself. And
yes, congrats. Welcome aboard.
To see a guy who just earlier in the season was being labeled as washed up come out there in the biggest moment at the time for the Jays season, lay it out there, rediscover some magic inside of himself, and not do it with athleticism that he may have had in his arsenal past. He did it with pure experience, pure savvy, pure rage, man, Mad Max style. Just internalize that rage, and it came out positively for us. And so I enjoyed that start tremendously. It was my favorite, I would say, pitching start of the season, even with Yesavage and what he did.
Really?
I just couldn't take my eyes off Max that game. Yesavage too in the World Series was just unbelievable, especially in that game five. And those two starts, man, just iconic. I thought they were iconic. One from the old guy and one from the young guy who's hardly played really good ball. It's a beautiful kind of a polarizing spectrum of what the Jays season was like.
You bet. Tony, what do you think in terms of Scherzer and his tete-a-tete with Schneider versus Yesavage, the Scherzer starting Game 7, altogether?
I think
I guess before you start, like, how would you summarize Max Scherzer as a Toronto Blue Jay? Sorry to put you on the spot here, but I mean, like, because nobody expected him to even make so many starts. I mean, he went a good couple years without. I think he made 9 total starts in the past 2 years, and he proved to be a very valuable piece for the Jays. He had this intensity. He wasn't much of a slouch during these playoffs. You think of players who had a cup of coffee, like David Price, for example. I think Max Scherzer absolutely annihilated, between the two, between David Price and Ricky Henderson when he was here in '93. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was an underwhelming signing. Let's be honest here. When he did sign with the Blue Jays, everybody was like, it was underwhelming. It's not but that's because we expected a last or second last place finish in the division. So I think the general consensus was, what's the point of signing him? So, but it just goes to show you when you get into the playoff situations, veterans still help. They still make a big difference. It's still a huge deal, and I think the stars aligned perfectly. He wasn't overworked throughout the season, I guess, and so it kind of came in perfect for him to come into the playoffs and do what he's done for years and years and years in a Hall of Fame career. And he salvaged what could have been a disastrous signing by the Blue Jays. And you know what? I think disastrous is I think it's a strong word. I take that back. It's just an underwhelming signing. First half.
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of people were really skeptical about it. I mean, $15 million, and I think from what I remember, a lot of people were wondering if anybody was looking to sign him in the first place. Did the Jays overbid their own bid? How many people could possibly have considered signing Max Scherzer? But
one of the reasons I became a Blue Jay fan in recess in the offseason. One of the many reasons, but they proved me wrong, and I'm glad they did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what a run. And, guys, I guess the Toronto Blue Jays and the Toronto Raptors have this emphasis of being Canada's team. Tony and I, we are big Toronto FC fans, Neel, as you know. And, Tony, you were at both MLS Cups when they played Seattle, 16 and 17? Yes. Yeah, me too. And of course, Toronto won in 17. They lost in 16. They lost in 19 when MLS Cup was in Seattle. Those two losses, Tony, with me, obviously it hurt for a day, but there wasn't a national sense of mourning like the Toronto Blue Jays. And considering the Raptors never lost an NBA Finals, it seems like that there is this lull, maybe, dare I say, throughout the country. For me, I can't watch SportsCenter. I don't want to watch any highlights of Game 7, Tony. How has the past couple of days been for you? From your usual day-to-day practice of the sports highlights and catching yourself up there, however you do so. Is it a different tone in a different practice the past couple of days for you?
The highlights I won't watch. I won't go back and watch that, but I do like to go back and watch the pressers, the interviews from Blue Jay players, just to get the reactions from it. I got over it pretty quick. I'm not going to lie to you. I had AC Milan and the Buffalo Bills ready to go the next day for me, so
yes.
priorities had to shift in a hurry. But listen, I'm watching the game, and I just kept saying that they're leaving too many runners on. They're leaving too many runners on. This is going to haunt us. This is going to haunt us. So when it happened, I wasn't surprised by it. I'm like, there you go. But it's seeing Jeff Hoffman say, I cost these guys in the room, a World Series ring, and it's a pretty shitty feeling. That struck me. It's a lot more than that. I mean, it's the pitchers give up home runs, and it was just devastating to hear him say that. And so those are the reactions I was interested in getting, just to see how distraught they were. It was tough. But you also have to keep the perspective that nobody in their right mind expected the Blue Jays to be where they were a couple of days ago in a Game 7 of a World Series. And whoever said they did is talking out of their ass.
Yeah, and
the highlights, no. The highlights, I can't watch. No, I'm like everybody else.
Neel, how about you? Like, I watch TSN Overdrive, and they actually had a special edition on Sunday morning, and I caught half an hour of it, and I had to turn it off. Like, my heart was hurting so bad, and I'm not exaggerating here. Watching Sports Center, even the local news. I mean, it's just reaction to the Game 7 loss. I can't take it, really. How about you, man?
I'm exactly the same way. There's no way I'm going to subject myself to Stephen A. Smith's belligerent butt. Talking about a guy that,
please tell me what he said.
Talking down our Canadian team and, little shades to Canada and things of that nature. I'm not here for it. As much, when the Raptors won the championship, I consumed every single parcel of media, every article I could find, double checking, triple checking to see what new content there was, just because I was just loving how the world was just respecting our team and our accomplishment. And even though I think there's a lot of respect, so much respect, that even a lot of people are saying, this is just, it's David versus Goliath, and David came inches. If IKF had a bigger shoe size, the series outcome is different, and so,
or a bigger lead.
Or a bigger lead, but I'll get to that later, because for as many mistakes I thought base running, especially on that second or third base line with the third base coach there was a lot of mistakes in games of this World Series, but that particular play, I didn't think, and I've done some reading about it, they did the right thing with a short lead for IKF in that scenario. It just happened to be the outcome that was the less of a probability that ended up harming the Jays, unfortunately. Analytically, though, it was actually a right decision to not risk it. But I mean, in the end of the day, it's devastating. Because you felt it. You felt the sense of this like hive mind, the jubilation, the energy, the kind of the joy that the team was bringing us, and the excitement, and it was sort of just cruelly kind of shut the door on. So yeah, I'm not consuming anything. I'm looking forward to next season. I do think, though, just my general, what I'm going to come out of this with is that just like the Jays, they inspired confidence amongst their own clubhouse with the type of team they were this year. And they inspired confidence in me and a whole lot of us that this team is not going to be slept on for much longer. I think we got a bright future ahead. I think Vladdy leveled up in ways that we could not have imagined when we gave him that contract. A lot of guys did, to be honest. and so hopefully we bring most of the team back intact because we're potent and we're not going to be a team that's underdogs in many games next year. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I want to talk. Please, Tony.
Sorry, I wanted to jump on Neel there. I think Vladdy turned in a big way, and he turned me in a big way. One of the reasons why I was doubting this team's ability to go anywhere was it felt Austin Matthews, Willie Nylander like. You had these stars with the big names, but they were just they weren't giving you anything. And we watched Vladdy step up in a huge way, carry his heart on his sleeve, the emotions, the tears, the fight, the battle, the amazing play. He was at first base too, the defensive playing too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm 100% with Neel on that. Is that he turned, he found that switch, and he turned it, clicked it, and put it right on. I had a player in my head who just eluded me. Alex Ovechkin. It was a similar situation with Ovechkin. It's like couldn't get over the hump. When he finally turned it on that year in 2018, where just, he did what he was supposed to do. He played within the system, played within the team, played his ass off, and finally got the championship. Very similar. So he turned me in a big way, and probably the most positive thing that came out of that was Vladdy taking that next step, next level.
Here's hoping that he does. Tony, Neel and I, we were talking last week, and for me personally, I think, both of us had agreed that Vince Carter's coming of age moment when he was with the Toronto Raptors was the 2000 slam dunk competition. And for some reason, I think Vladdy's coming out moment was his interview with David Ortiz. When he was saying, Yankees lose, I think people, especially in the United States, really started to notice Vladdy. Now, he was kind of hobbling a little bit, but when mid-September came around, he just turned it up white hot. And look at that. I was wondering if there was consideration for Vladdy getting MVP, even though the Jays lost, because it has happened in hockey where somebody from the losing team can get, say, the Conn Smythe Award. But I really think that Vladdy's coming out moment, and of course, we could talk about all of the plays that he had during the playoffs. I mean, between the bat flip in the one home run there, the heads up play that Neel mentioned as well. What do you think? I mean, that David Ortiz interview, I think, is going to stick around with Vladdy's legacy for a long time.
That one and also the Born Ready one when we won when it was in the Seattle series.
Yep.
I'm born ready, man. And, I loved that. I love how he talks about Toronto. He's kind of like and not that we haven't had players like this. Like I think of DeRozan right now only because he loved Toronto. Lowry as well. These guys love Toronto, wanted to be here, wanted to win here. And Lowry did it, but Vladdy is a more magnetic superstar than those guys were for the Raptors. He is more magnetic. He's larger than life. And when he shows the love for the city, my heart breaks for him because this would have just been a shining moment on an extremely peak season. But it gives me confidence that he himself discovered something inside of him that is going to really maximize him as a player, especially over the first half of this 14-year marathon contract he's got. I think he's looking at a lot of great years. I think he's looking at least one MVP in the future.
Whoa! Let's take it easy.
No, believe me, because I'll tell you why as well.
I agree with you, but
I tell you this as well. Vladdy was a superstar at the plate. He was also a superstar on the field. He made defensive play after defensive play. I can't remember which game. Was it Game 7? It might have been even Game 7. He took the ball, made a beautiful decision to throw at first, throw to second, ran to first to catch and make the double play. A lot of guys may not make that decision. They'd run right to first base and let the guy advance to second. He made a lot of plays. He made great catches, just like line drives that he just somehow stretched out and caught. I didn't think a guy like that big could have that level of athleticism or nimbleness, you know? He was nimble as hell for a guy his size, man. And
Sure.
so he showed me so much, much of the team did. You go down the line, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but, you know, Springer. It's going to be harder for me to imagine Springer rediscovering the sort of magic he had this year. I hope he does for a year or two more. But Kirk, guys just stepped up like you wouldn't believe all across the line.
Everybody.
So, you know, I think, you know, it's tough. But, you know, I say this, you know, pressure molds a man. And I think that this extreme loss is not going to have a disheartening effect in the end of the day. It's going to have an uplifting effect for what this team, the confidence level that they have, and the hunger that Toronto is going to have to see that championship. I think it's going to carry the team, and the team is going to carry the city. And, you know, maybe we just weren't ready. And I hate to say it that way, but there are things that could have been swung the other way. I think the Dodgers, even though they felt like the worst team for much of the series, they were the more consistent with their fundamentals than the Jays were at times. And, you know, I think it's just going to make the city hungrier. That's all. The team is going to be hungry. The city is going to be hungry. And everyone gets a confidence boost. Even though we lost, everyone got a big confidence boost this year.
Tony?
I saw the Dodgers were a mistake-filled club as well. They just managed to hit some big home runs. I mean, it was 3 straight innings of home runs, and it doesn't take a lot of analytics. You don't need a geek sitting in front of a computer to figure out what happened in Game 7. It's 3 for 17 with runners in scoring position. They had their chance. They lost the World Series. Was it Caleb Jones on Sportsnet who said, "I don't give a shit what anybody says. The better team lost"? I agree with that. The Jays should have won this series. They blew it themselves. Like I was saying, throughout Game 7, it's like they kept leaving guys stranded, and this was the thing that they were doing really well to help their turnaround during the season and get them to where they got to. Was just this timely hitting from everybody pitching in and hitting. Clement was ridiculous. We didn't even mention him. He had 30 hits.
No kidding.
He had 30 hits in the postseason, which is a Major League Baseball record. We haven't even mentioned him. And they came up short. They failed to do it in the most important time. And two things could be true at the same time. You can point that out, but also be happy and proud of the way they played. And you know, you don't need to be a hater to say, hey, you guys, you know, at the end there, you kind of blew it. Kind of choked, you know what I mean? Like 3%.
Well, you know,
choke is a bad word.
Please.
No,
I don't know if it is, Tony. I think it is a right word. They were up 4-3. Sorry, they had a
serious opportunity. Go on.
No, I completely agree. Like what they were up 3-1, or was it up to 4-1? Yeah, it would have been 4-1, right? And you know, choke is a hard word, but sometimes life's kind of hard. They gave up a home run to the 9th hitter. They brought in Shane Bieber, and then he gave up a home run, amongst everything else. But you know, there is a little bit the whole discussion of whether they choked or not. I think it does sum up to the fact that there were a lot of freak incidents or unique instances that took place during especially Game 6 and 7. What about Addison Barger hitting a double that gets lodged in the pads, and then his base running gaff within that?
He was incredible as well. All
he was absolutely
defensively as well.
Neel, was there one play that stuck out with you that was so unlucky, so like a play that you never saw before in a baseball game, and it goes against the Jays? Very quickly, I did want to mention, you were talking about Kiner Falefa and the slide. What if he slid face first? Maybe he gets the hand outstretched. maybe that would have he would have gone in a little bit faster than going feet first, and maybe the Jays would have won a championship. But
yeah, you can say a lot of things. I mean, to be honest, I think that Will Smith is one of the better catchers in the league, and a lot of guys probably wouldn't have got that foot down like he did either. There's so many things you could point at, bigger lead on third if they had gone that way. But a lot of those calls, which may analytically be okay when you think about like regular season and stuff, I didn't see the risk that was maybe necessary in the big moment. I don't know, maybe there were – the thing that stands out to me the most, it's not a single play really, to be honest. It's the fact that the Jays did not win any of the 3 close games in the series. There were 3 close games. It was Game 3, Game 6, and Game 7. We lost all of them. We won big when we won. All the games we won, we slaughtered them. And then they won all the games when crunch time was a factor. And that right there tells me that, you can't say for sure, as much as I love the Blue Jays like we all do, the better teams win in the crunch, in the clutch. And they had the better pitching throughout the series. Yesavage aside, Yamamoto was the best pitcher in this series, and there's no question about it to me. But they had overall, I think, even though we took advantage of Snell and Glasnow to a degree, even Otani, our pitching outside of Yesavage was not all that great either, and we lost in the big moments in the last 3-4 innings of these games. So it's just tough. But if I had to pull out a play, maybe it's that Barger, the
double that got lodged in the pads.
The lodge, do we win if that doesn't get lodged? This is another one.
Yes.
I mean, that's even bigger to me than the slide, because that's just pure dumb luck. The slide, there was skill involved with Smith and IKF and the call. There were so many factors there, but the lodge, it was just like, what the fuck? How lucky is that? And what struck me there in that play is that I don't remember the guy's last name. Is it Dean or something? The guy who took
Justin
over
Dean,
center field. Yeah, he took over at center field just that inning, at the start of that inning when that lodge happened. And I don't know. I can't even think about it right now.
Well, Tony,
just Tony, take it away, man.
Well, hands down, the Andy Pages catch off of Barry Clement.
When
he knocked over Kiki Hernandez in the outfield there.
Oh my goodness!
How many times have you seen that happen? And the ball just whoop, 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 dropped right in front of you. Game over. Absolutely. World Series champions. We're still hungover. But
do you guys remember? Yeah. Sorry, Tony. I mean, like you're talking about outfielders potentially colliding with Pages and Hernandez. You guys remember Springer and Barger? Springer and Bichette in the Seattle Wildcard series. I mean, Springer had a severe concussion and he was out for so long. And nope, didn't happen to. It didn't happen. With Hernandez and Pages, but now perhaps we could look towards next season and what the Jays will potentially do with their free agent signings. Tony, I don't think any of us could have gone and listened to a Sportsnet clip or a TSN clip about the Jays. They're talking about how united this team was, how well they get along, and so on. And I'm really wondering, does that really make a difference? I mean, I'm sure the three of us could come up with teams where everybody hated each other, but they won. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Oakland A's back in the late 80s didn't really share recipes with Canseco and McGuire, and take a look at those Montreal Canadian teams. I mean, you think Beliveau and Cournoyer, Lafleur, Dryden, you think they all got along swimmingly? Possibly not. But apparently it was always kumbaya. And I guess when it comes to the potential free agents, Bichette especially, and we'll talk about him, do you think that's going to matter when this team, when each of those players, especially the key ones, consider about staying in Toronto?
Not really. I don't think it should matter. I mean, it helps if everybody gets along, sure, but when you have a room full of 24, 25 guys, that's just impossible. I would doubt everybody on the Blue Jays, like, they all love each other. Look at those Chicago Bull teams. How many of them do you think really like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant? There are a lot of guys who weren't fans of Kobe or Michael, but that was your fucking meal ticket to a championship ring. So you better take whatever the hell they do to you in practice or whatever challenge they put in front of you. If you want a ring, you got to jump on their coattails and ride them. But I'm not sure if it makes a difference or not. I mean, it doesn't hurt. That's great and all that they love each other. It helps. But at the end of the day, baseball is a very individual sport. For it being a team sport, it is very individual. At the end of the day, you're in charge of what you're doing at that particular time. I mean, yeah, there is base running elements, and is the guy you're about to throw the ball to standing in the right position? And sure, those are little things you work out day in, day out. But A-Rod and Jeter weren't the best of friends, and they made it work during their days as New York Yankees. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, Randy. Are people confident that this team can win again? And that'll be what makes or breaks what they're able to do this offseason in terms of free agency or keeping guys.
Yeah, Neel, what do you think? Do you agree, Tony? Oh, you're on mute there, Neel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it does matter that the team gets along. It helps, like Tony said, but at the same time, part of me does look at a team like that, and not to make comparisons, but not even a comparison. Just when a team, is all happy-go-lucky in a sense, they have team chemistry. It's amazing. I want to see a little bit more mean-spirited ball. I want to see that rabid dog come out a little bit more. And maybe we're going to see that now. Maybe the serious face is going to come on a little bit more as we go forward. I think it's a good thing, but I think one has to put fear into their enemy. And the Jays still have a step to go with that. And so two things can be right. It definitely helps. Does it change what management is going to do because of team chemistry? I don't think it moves the needle a whole lot, to be honest, because they're going to bring in guys they think can fit better, do better. They're going to look at analytics, and they're going to look at money, because that's what it comes down to.
And I couldn't agree more. It comes down to money. It got a little tiresome. It got a little repetitive. Like, I get it. Okay, they're all great pals, and are they going to forego a couple $1 million because they all get along so well? And I think that there is something perhaps of them being on the same page, but is that going to keep them in Toronto? And we'll see what happens. We are going to get, as mentioned, to the free agent list in a moment. But Tony, Neel, Trey Yesavage, where did this guy come from? I was saying to myself that bringing up this kid at this time of the year was going to be an absolute disaster. You're going to ruin his momentum, his upbringing, his growth as a ball player. You're going to put him right in the pressure cooker. He's going to implode. And who knows, could he have been in consideration for World Series MVP, especially if the Jays had won? But he has set the bar so impossibly high. How do you think that this is going to play out for Yesavage for next season and going forward? Because people are going to expect double-digit strikeouts and sheer dominance for the rest of his career.
Yeah, 100%. But, I think there's a good chance that that's what we get by him. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a guaranteed superstar, but I think he's a guaranteed great starting pitcher in this league at his floor, and will hopefully be with the Blue Jays for a long time. He's under control for a lot of years with us still, and that is a huge boost to sort of our bottom line when it talks about filling out the roster and your potentially best pitcher for the next 4 to 6 years. I'm not sure how long exactly, is on a minimum contract essentially, and that is an absolute gift. It's like getting LeBron James with a number 1 pick as a contender. And then you have, I'm not to compare him to LeBron, but some type of ready-made, ready-to-contribute player. And he just went through the trial by fire that no other player perhaps in history has ever gone through. And he succeeded with flying colors overall. You could not have expected better. He set World Series records. He bounced back from tough outings, tough innings. He got out of bases loaded with 1 out multiple times, multiple base guys left on base. And you saw the tension in his face. You saw how he was dripping with sweat, how he was focused, and then he would just go and make it happen. And I think great pitchers are the ones that can do that. And then you talk about his just raw athleticism, his height, his high release point. I've heard Clayton Kershaw comparisons to a young Clayton Kershaw. And that right there, you start getting those comparisons. Yeah, the expectation goes high, but you know what? I think you got a real stud on your hands here and someone to build around and opening day starter, dare I say.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Well, you know what?
I think it still goes to Gausman, but
it may still goes to Gausman, but I think there's going to be a lot of turnover in the Blue Jays pitching rotation this year. To be honest, you're going to see a whole new team. A lot, one would say I don't know how you guys feel about Bieber, but I'm not sure I want to give this guy a lot of money, at this stage.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him.
We'll get to him later, but having Yesavage just there just helps so much with how you build this team, and I think he's going to be fantastic.
Tony, I am wondering if the fact that he was so fresh, so new, nobody had ever seen him, was a benefit at all. And of course, we're just speculating, of course, but truthfully, and I'm expecting a couple of jokes from you guys in a second, but I really think about Eugenie Bouchard when I think of Trey Yesavage, only because when Eugenie Bouchard splashed onto WTA, she rose through the ranks. She was so dominant. She was so poised. And then the opposition figured her out. Will not be surprised if the same thing happens to Trey Yesavage. I mean, this high release point that apparently is so rare, and of course it is rare, but I think that he is going to have a huge hill to climb by trying to keep pitchers guessing. How much of an arsenal does Yesavage really have? He just came in at the right time, and the opposition didn't know how to figure him out. Is it that fair to say that with a little bit of more tape and more study of the guy that the opposition could rake over Yesavage? I don't think it's that far-fetched.
Of course, it's possible. We see it we see it all the time in sports. We see it all the time with these great quarterbacks who have good first seasons, and by the second year, these brilliant defensive coordinators have it figured out. They don't look as good. You can make a list 5 pages long of this situation, but Neel's description of the kid's mindset, his inner belief, and just that dog attitude, I think will help him get through what will no doubt be some low points next season. He'll have some low points. Let's be cautious. Alek Manoah is a prime example, right? But why can't he go work on more pitches? Who's to say that he's not going to go work on his release points in the offseason and try and change the way he pitches a bit? Roy Halladay did it. Gold standard for me is always Roy Halladay. His story, God rest his soul, is always the one I reference on how far he had to go back down to get back to where he got, and just totally, completely change his delivery, the way he approached the game, the way he thought the game, his nutrition, all that stuff. So if he's got it within him to work on those things, he'll be fine. But there's no question he's going to hit some down points, Randy. There's no question about it. That's just the way sports works. You're going to catch up to guys. You're going to figure them out. It's up to that guy to make adjustments to the adjustments that were made on him. That's how you better yourself in sports. And I think Neel's right with what seems to be a very, very strong mentality coming out of that kid.
Hey, can I just add one thing here? You're talking, Randy, of course, about how pitchers who are faced more by batters, their tendencies are learned. They're able to play the game at the plate a little bit more, the more experience you have against certain pitchers. And sometimes it's just a bad matchup or a great matchup. Let me point this out, though, that it should not be overlooked, is that by far his better start in the Seattle series and in the World Series was in his second start, not in his first. And so you look at a guy who got rocked by Seattle in game 2 and turned it up when his next start. He did pretty okay against the Dodgers. He did, in the first start, and he absolutely destroyed them in the second start. So you're never going to scrutinize a pitcher more than the handful of starting pitchers that you have to go against in the ALCS, NLCS, or World Series. You're going to get 10 times the scrutiny that you would get in the regular season in general. And so they scrutinized the hell out of this kid as much as they could with all the data that they had available, all the starts that he had made.
Well, the Dodgers and the Mariners did, but I mean, how much information did they have on him? And the Dodgers and the Mariners
are two of the best lineups in baseball who had poured hand over fist trying to learn everything they could, and he demolished them worse on the second start. And that tells you right there that the kid is also learning about you as a batter, you as a lineup, your tendencies. And it showed me that in his second start, in the ultimate of pressure, he was able to overcome the opposition better than the opposition was able to overcome him against elite opposition. And so as a young guy whose balls haven't even descended baseball-wise, they certainly have now. And that to me is an intangible that I think is very important not to overlook.
Well, as you guys were dropping your knowledge there, I was thinking that maybe I should have used Roy Halladay and Alek Manoah as a reference as opposed to Eugenie Bouchard. But anyway, I'll go on.
Alek Manoah, that's certainly the counterweight.
One of my favorite Instagram follows, by the way.
Eugenie Bouchard. I don't follow Jeannie, but she's high up. Hope Alek Manoah will figure everything out in Atlanta. He did rep Toronto very well. And Neel, Tony brought up Jeff Hoffman's comments, after Game 7, and you got to feel so bad for the kid. I can remember, the vitriol and the hate that Mitch Williams got when he gave up the home run to Joe Carter. Imagine what would have happened if social media was in effect. But, Jeff Hoffman, he had a pretty he was pretty lights out in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
but his entire 25 season, he had an ERA over 4. He had 6 blown saves. It all came crashing to a halt after Miguel Rojas, of all people, hit that home run. I mean, it seemed, I don't know if fitting is the right word, but it just seemed like the clock was going to strike 12 on Hoffman, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed that he was due, so to speak. He had a great run, and just in the worst possible moment against the last batter in the lineup, I think Rojas was.
Yeah, he was.
He gives it up, and maybe part of it is that he was over anticipating Ohtani coming up next. Maybe it was
That's what I think.
something else, and then he ended up risking too much and giving this guy too much of a hittable pitch. Ohtani, even if that wasn't the case, Ohtani, his effect on the other team is so much beyond him actually being at the plate. It's 3 batters ahead. You're thinking about this guy. 4 batters ahead. You're thinking about this guy after he gets on base or strikes out. You're thinking about his next at bat, and you're planning for it already. The effect this guy has is so incredibly profound on the opposition. And that probably was a factor, but at the end of the day, like you said, pitchers pitch, hitters hit, and it's a numbers game, and sometimes the number don't come up your way. You shoot craps, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Tony, I don't know what you think about closers in baseball, but I do believe that they are failed starters, especially 20 years ago when you have pitchers that go 7+ innings and then you leave it to a closer. I think Mariano Rivera, ironically enough, is the only player to go unanimously into the Hall of Fame on the first shot, and he is a reliever. Now, I don't know how that happens when a guy like Ichiro wasn't. I don't think Ichiro was a unanimous Hall of Fame selection. But anyway, there just seems to be a short lifespan, especially when it comes to closers in baseball. What do you think? Would you spend an exorbitant amount of money on a closer?
No, unless it was Mariano Rivera. No. I mean, I know that. I think you stick with Hoffman, and
you would stick with Hoffman.
Yeah, of course. You have a guy there who has the makeup. I think he's going to get better. You're going to blow saves. It's just going to happen. Perhaps the offense should give him an extra run to play with next time, so he doesn't have to worry about that home run being as devastating as it was. But we've seen a lot of closers signed to big money deals as free agents that have just completely been absolute bombs. I don't want to see the Jays waste money on that. I think they have some options. They probably have some guys in the system we don't even know who the fuck they are that can make their way up and work it. But allocating funds on a closer, I don't think is a good idea. There's other areas they can spend money on.
Well, why don't we take a look at who are free agents now for the Toronto Blue Jays. Guys, in terms of position players, Ty France, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. You take a look at pitchers, and Shane Bieber has a player option for $16 million. According to Sportac, however, he may be due for a much bigger pay raise. I don't really know how that happened. Max Scherzer, of course, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and Chris Bassett. Of course, Chris Bassett had a fantastic postseason. Neel, other than Bichette, do you think the Jays should re-sign any of the players that was on this World Series team? Neel, yeah, you're on mute.
Just the guys on these lists, right?
Just these guys here.
I really don't know, because I got problems with all of them, but then at the same time, they all did some good things at certain points in this run. Like IKF, maybe that slide is going to live in infamy in the wrong way up north, but he had some good moments in this run. When he was called up, he bunted appropriately. He, got a couple of very timely hits along these last couple of rounds. And, he's a backup at best, but the more interesting question for me is the pitchers, because I don't know how I feel about giving Bieber 24, 25 million coming off Tommy John and maybe not being the same Cy Young level guy he was in the past. He was inconsistent in the playoffs as well. I felt like our lineup carried him more than he carried our lineup. Like, look, that doesn't give me max money vibes. If he takes his player option and proves us wrong, fine, but I think he's probably going to decline that and go seek a contract. Bassett's getting up there in age. He pitched really well for us as a bullpen guy, and maybe that's the best role for him now. I don't know if he's a starter going forward, although he did have a lot of good games in this year. I don't know. I'm interested to hear Tony's thoughts here. Scherzer is the big one. I don't think that Scherzer's got much of this left. I don't know how much you'd pay a guy just to kind of come in and hope to give you a couple of great playoff starts, that if that's going to happen again. It feels like a lot of this season felt like lightning in a bottle. And a lot of it, I don't know how much can be actually realistically repeated without great risk. And a lot of these signings based off emotion or anything like that, or accomplishment just for this 1 year, you're playing with a lot of fire there, because I think that you got to keep a lot of the core in place. None of these guys are core to me, and you got to fill in the lineup in a perhaps more, an improved way and somehow.
Tony, that ERA that Scherzer got, that's really jumping out of the page for me. 85 innings. I don't know. Could he be somebody that you put into the bullpen? That's a lot of home runs he's given up too.
No, I'm with Neel there. I think the lightning in the bottle is a great point. So you got to be careful. Bassett's at 37. He had some nice appearances in the bullpen throughout the playoffs. I'm with you with Shane Bieber. If Biebs has taken that player option, that's great. He hasn't pitched a lot because of the Tommy John, but famously, the Tommy John surgery makes a pitcher stronger for some reason. That's been the folklore throughout baseball. So he could be better next year, going into next season after a little more time. But again, am I giving him $24 million a year? I don't care to do that. And again, Bo Bichette is obviously the big guy talking point. What do you do with him? Phenomenal hitter, but where does he go on the field? I don't know.
Well, he would go as short. Let's not forget that Ty France won a Gold Glove this year. Yeah, he spent most of the season in Minnesota, but he won a Gold Glove. Now, what does that get you in terms of offensive numbers? There's two sides to the ball there. And
I guess the bottom line is what do these guys want? What's it going to take to keep them? IKF is absolutely a guy you keep around. He's a useful player. He's a spot starter. He is a backup player, but what's his value? What does he want? And is it worth it? And can you find other guys to play that role who are cheaper? If you're focusing on paying a Bo Bichette, but what do you guys think of Bichette? You think it's realistic that he's staying? Because it all seems to point to his exit, meaning he could probably get a huge payday on the market.
Yeah, because Neel, let me jump in here first, because I don't know how Sportalk got these numbers of what their market value is, because I don't see Bo Bichette getting 25 mil. I see it's going to be a hell of a lot more. And if he does stay with Toronto, Vladdy's getting 50 mil for 14 years. So if I'm Bo Bichette, how am I not going to accept anything south of 38? And I think 38, because this is the one thing that I've always wondered here. Now, and I mean, are we really ready to say that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is that much better than Bo Bichette? I mean, Bo Bichette plays, maybe he's a little snake bit on the defensive side with the errors and such, but with the speed that he has, with the power, Vladdy, I guess there is some responsibility in picking up that ball off the ground at first base, but $50 million for one. And let's say that if I'm Bo Bichette and my teammate is getting $12 million more, and let's say that they are eye for an eye, like, stat for stat, pretty even, that might get to me. Personally, I don't think Bo Bichette stays. Neel, what about you?
Yeah, I think
I mean, how much do we really know about Bo Bichette? Because, okay, maybe Vladdy has the natural charisma. I mean, his dad has such a footprint with baseball in this country.
Yeah, I'm going to say it like this. I think Bo's had an unbelievable year, but prior to that, I was having a few issues with him over the last couple of seasons prior to this one. He kind of turned my eyes around, he is that guy, actually. But then over the course of the playoffs and how we played kind of without him, now he came in the World Series, and he obviously had some huge hits, but I don't know for a fact that he made our lineup better in the sense of it wasn't necessarily better than how we had been playing up to the World Series. Maybe it was.
Well, I think it's because he was hurt.
Was it Max Money better? Was it Max Money better? And so I don't know if maybe that money is better spent on a starting pitcher, a new starting pitcher that pair with Gausman and Yesavage and have like a three-headed monster. I don't think Bieber's that guy. I don't think any of our other guys are those guys that can be with those two. So part of me is like, well, rather than give Bo $40 million, go get a couple guys, including a elite pitcher.
Tony, you in agreement?
Yeah. I mean, especially the way our management thinks in terms of how they spend their money. I'm thinking they're thinking the same thing. And I think it's a better idea because, they got to the ALC, they got to the World Series without him, essentially. And that's not his fault. It's nothing he did wrong. They get hurt and the team stepped up without him. But if, I guess it's kind of the situation where the Leafs, again, compared to the Leafs, you got to be prepared to walk away from certain guys. Now, was Marner the right choice? It's starting to look like maybe not, but it's still too early to tell. But you have to walk away from one of them eventually, if you know what I mean. So
I wonder if you have to.
I'm not looking at
basketball,
but I'm not looking at Bo Bichette as a $40 million a year player either for some reason. And
well, do you think another team is going to sign him to that?
I think so. I think it's possible.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, Neel, what about you? I don't know either. I don't really know who is worth $40 million, but
other than us,
I'm still correct. Yes, but I'm still clueless on how Juan Soto got $765. But
I think the Mets are regretting that.
Baseball. Well, okay. Here's a great question. Do you have deferred payment to Bichette like they did with Shohei?
Yeah, that's interesting because, part of me is like, why wouldn't you do that? If you have a contending team and if that allows you to sign more guys to contend right now, You don't know how the hell the team's going to look 7 years from now whenever deferred payments are going to start kicking in. They could be a dumpster fire at that time. Then who cares if you're giving deferred payments to whoever? The Dodgers, let's not forget, they have the highest payroll in MLB history. And a lot of that is because they're giving Shohei all this money and they're deferring a lot of it too. And they're signing guys left, right, and center, Snell and all these guys, max contracts here, up here, left and right. I mean, the Jays should be looking at that and going, hey, we are onto something here. Yeah, we should be deferring some of this stuff. Forget about 7 years from now, because I tell you this as well. Vladdy is going to be better in the first 7 years of his contract than he will be in the second 7. You need to maximize the hell out of this. Act as if you're paying Vladdy $70 million a year for the first 7 and whatever the average that gets to his contract in the last 7, because that's the production you're probably going to get out of the guy. You need to maximize the next 7 years, the first half of his contract, and if that means you pay Bichette and defer his payments to later, look, that's what you got to do. I strike while the iron's hot. The fan base is in a frenzy right now. Even though we're all depressed, the fan base has just taken a jolt up the mountain. And you got to maximize that and give this city and give us another chance to, because I tell you what, man, we lost this in the most heartbreaking fashion ever, but I can tell you the jubilation will be twice as good when we win it. Because
I gotta say though, Neel, I think the jubilation is still existing. The amount of social media comments that I've seen, I think it exists now. Absolutely.
No, it definitely does.
The amount of social media comments that I've seen, like 99% of them are all positive. And, Canadians and Jays fans, they recognize what had happened here.
Oh yeah. We're depressed because we lost. But not at the team we have, though. Not at the team we have. We're very proud of that.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but let's, I'm going to play the other side here. Let's check out how next season starts. Let's wait and see how May and June are going. And if they get out to the start, you start seeing a lot of people dressed up as empty seats at the Rogers Center again, like we did early last season. Let's see how that goes. I mean, I think, and I know it's one of the questions you're going to ask me, Randy, so maybe I'll get ahead of it. Do I think that, the Jays can get back to the LCS next season? And I can honestly say I don't think it. I don't think so, because I really do think.
You don't think so? Why is that?
No. I just think they just got on this great run, the lightning in a bottle, like Neel said, and I kind of expect them to come back down to earth. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but. And it's not to say this team, and you're right, maybe what happened to them this year have put them in a nice mindset and maybe they can be a good team and consistent, but you're going to expect the Red Sox to get better. You're going to expect the Yankees to try and improve, spend money, do what the Yankees and Red Sox are really good at doing. And so you just don't know, right? So I think we should all, relax this a little bit and see how the offseason goes and see how the start of the season goes, because it was gloomy not that long ago, right? Just a few months into the season, you're like, oh God. So I don't know. It's the verdict's out to me still. That's why it was such a huge opportunity to miss.
Yeah.
I think the real amazing part was that 2015, the Jays were below 500, and then they picked up David Price and Troy Tulowitzki. And who was that major acquisition that they got at the deadline? You want to say Shane Bieber or Ty France or IKF? I mean, it doesn't even come close. And who knows? I think the reality is that what could a Barger and a Clement ask when their contracts are up? I think that is the big question as well. Neel, I did want to ask, and we'll ask obviously both you and Tony, but the city of Toronto has had those hold your breath moments when it came to the star player, whether he stays or leaves. Austin Matthews stayed. William Nylander stayed. All those years ago, Vince Carter did stay. But then there was Kawhi Leonard. Most recently, Mitch Marner. Where would Bo Bichette not re-signing, where would that fall under in terms I know that you don't appreciate hockey, you don't have an affection for hockey like basketball or even baseball, but how major of a loss would it be and disappointment it would be if Bo Bichette did not re-sign with Toronto?
Yeah, it'd be an emotional thing, but functionally, I don't think it. Obviously, he's a great player, but I don't know that he is what I would term a superstar. And you might have to give him superstar money to keep him here. And sometimes it's tough because the biggest thing is that he's a homegrown guy. And he came up here. He's only known this franchise really, and that's what makes it tough from an emotional perspective. But analytically, functionally, that would pass pretty quickly, I think, if we end up becoming, filling that spot. Whatever money would have been used towards him, if it helps us in other ways, it'll be noticed quite quickly, or not noticed if it goes the wrong way. Then it'll really be disappointing. But where he would rank, look, it's a tough one because he's had ups and downs even here, mostly been a really good player. But it wouldn't be on the level of, to
Kawhi,
be honest,
I guess. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that that's where I bring in the emotion part of it, because Kawhi leaving, yeah, he won us a title, but there's more emotion, I think, with Bichette. With Kawhi, it was the fact that you have this Terminator that you really need analytically to win another championship. I don't feel that sense with Bichette. It's more that he spent his whole career here, and it'll be weird seeing him in another jersey. It's not necessarily weird seeing Kawhi in another jersey because we've already seen that before. But Kawhi did win us a championship, so it's two different scenarios, I think, because Kawhi had no really connection to Toronto outside of his 1 year here, nor did he try to. Bichette has all that, but he's not Kawhi as far as a true difference maker, in my opinion. But also this.
Tony, what
I want
about
to
you?
point out my shirt here.
I guess
I wore this shirt.
I don't see the shirt.
I regret.
Emotional investment.
That was all of us.
And
After
what are we
7.
looking at here? Yeah. Oh my God. Do you know how much money I blew for postseason merchandise here? Like it. Oh, that was.
I can tell.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Tony, what do you think?
I'm with Neel on that. I guess you can compare. Well, it wasn't DeMar's choice to leave, obviously, but him leaving was emotional. It was tough to see because you could see the guy genuinely loved being here and wanted to be a Raptor. But I think it would be the same way with Bo, but we obviously, I think, can manage to move on and still be good. Still be a good baseball team, just like the Raptors were not only a good basketball team after DeMar leaving, they ended up winning the championship. But yeah, I'm with you. I think emotionally it would be tough because this is the only team he's known. I think the connection with him and Vladdy, how they grew up in the organization together, both having fathers who were prominent players in the game as well. That whole storyline. But yeah, I think we'd get over it on the field.
Well, Tony, you could probably answer this question a lot better. In terms of Bichette leaving the Jays versus Marner leaving the Leafs, I mean, essentially, you're looking at both Bichette and Marner being the number 2 guy on their respective teams. Don't really know a heck of a lot about either person. I think that there are a lot of comparables between Bo Bichette and Mitch Marner. And I, for one, I don't know, I can't recall exactly what your thoughts are on Marner, but I completely understand why Mitch Marner wanted to leave Toronto. I mean, I thought that he was treated very, very unfairly with the media. His car got jacked while he was here. I think the fans, especially, I think that Marner got a lot of the garbage, and I do think Austin Matthews, especially, got away scot-free. Not that anybody is really criticizing Bo Bichette, but I do see a lot of comparables, and it could have a pretty lasting impact on the Jays, just like Marner leaving could have a big impact on the Leafs.
I disagree. I think it's two totally different situations. Now, the scrutiny that a Toronto Maple Leaf of Mitch Marner's caliber faces, as opposed to what a Blue Jay player faces, are obviously night and day, right? I think it was time for Marner to go. I don't think he was cut out for this market. I think he's a very thin-skinned, weak individual. The carjacking thing has nothing to do with other than allowing thug criminals just run around in the streets without any deterrent, just jack cars freely. That's a Toronto issue. That's not that's got nothing else to do with it. That's politics and justice.
Well, it's also happening a lot in NBA. It is happening a lot in NBA. I mean, Shea's house just got jacked.
Well, they promote that lifestyle
a couple days ago
anyway. Well, they promote that lifestyle in the NBA anyway, so they're in bed with the promotion of that kind of lifestyle. But that's a different topic for a different show.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So from that aspect, I think it's just two completely different things. I know the Leafs aren't where the fans want them to be at this point. I know there's a lot of people thinking, damn, if we had Marner. But I do believe that eventually it'll be a good move for the Leafs. I think there's more to come in terms of moves. It was a necessary departure. I'm not sure it's the same thing with Bo Bichette. I don't think there's a problem between him and the media and him and the fan base. I don't think the fan base look at him as a guy who, just doesn't seem content, can't handle criticism, seems to shrivel in big situations, which is how Marner is viewed here. And he can handle it. He can handle it. I don't think people were.
Well, I mean, Tony, I don't know about that.
I don't think the media.
I don't know about that because
it was unfair to Mitch Marner. I think the media was calling it as they saw it, and he was incapable of handling it. And that's why Vegas is a great spot for him right now.
Well, Vegas being a great spot, absolutely, with all of the success and all the talent that they have around Mitch, for sure. But it took Bo Bichette a long time to win a playoff game. What did he really accomplish beyond this season? I mean, he was hurt too. Now he did step up at the plate at the right time.
Was there ever World Series expectations on the Blue Jays like there are on the Leafs year after year, Stanley Cup? At least get
sure, but
second round.
I completely agree with that.
Right.
Sorry, Tony, please.
No, I'm just saying that, and Mitch was always top 4, top 5 scorer in the league. So there was a lot expected of him come playoff time, and he always came up small. And again, he couldn't handle that criticism. And in this market, especially for a Leaf player, if you can't handle it, you're not cut out for it. You're going to have a miserable life, an absolutely miserable life playing as a Toronto Maple Leaf, which is why it's a deterrent for some players to come here and play, I guess.
Yeah. But I really wonder how many gaffes did Marner have compared to Matthews? Like, I really don't think Matthews gets anywhere near the kind of criticism that Mitch Marner got. I mean, what do you think? Because I think everybody was harping on Marner simply because he was a kid from this area. Like, everybody just treats Austin Matthews with a silver spoon. Like, am I far off in saying that?
You want it, Neel?
No, yeah.
Did Neel want it or no? It looked like
I think he's good.
he's on mute. No, I
Tony,
think
go,
I
Tony,
think
go ahead.
I think Matthews has received his criticism as well, but
All right.
Matthews has stepped up in the playoffs. Willie Nylander has stepped up and played well in the playoffs. They have been able to turn that around a little bit, that stigma, and Marner never did. He just never did. I mean, when you look absolutely invisible at times with a player of that caliber, that level, I'm sorry, you're in a market where you're just going to notice it. You're going to say something about it, and if you can't take it, either play better or you're going to go crazy, right? You're going to go absolutely insane. And I think that's what happened with Mitch Marner. And that's why he's in a nice, perfect, safe area like Vegas, where it's love, 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 love. Not a lot of media coverage, although it is a hot ticket in town. There's no question about it. There's a lot of attention in Vegas.
Yeah.
They love their nights, but it's just different. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly is. Has Toronto become a destination for Major League Baseball players? Toronto in the summertime is a pretty cool place to be, and for years, of course the Yankees and the Red Sox are still in that AL East. How much of a step back did the Yankees take this past season? I think it was Tony that said, the Yankees and the Red Sox, it's going to be a matter of time before they become a juggernaut again. But Tony, how much more elevated has Toronto become in being a destination for free agents?
I think there's going to be a nice review of the place. I think watching how insane it was at the Rogers Center throughout this playoff run and listening to other players, I think Max Scherzer's, I think the effect it's had on him and other players being able to talk to him and get, what'd you think? How did it feel? I think it might play an effect. But again, it comes down to what are you willing to pay me and are you going to be a contending team? And and if that's the case, then you are going to be a destination. But,
the good news is that the Jays are going to pay guys. They've been trying to pay guys. They tried to pay Otani, and too bad he got away. But it's almost a good thing right now. It looks like that Soto got away because Vlad, right now, anyways, is a better player. And hey, Vladdy's a magnetic guy. He's a friendly guy. He's friends with a lot of these Latino dudes around the league, and they all like him. And the way he played now, there's potentially a lot of guys looking at, hey, I'd love to play with Vlad. And maybe he has some pull. Maybe if that even matters in baseball like it does in basketball. I doubt it does because basketball is a whole different level of, buddy. Our reputation definitely stepped up a level. The way this team went David versus Goliath against the Dodgers, I think everyone outside of like LA was probably cheering for the Blue Jays, to be honest, the way that the Dodgers are kind of hated around those parts everywhere except Cali. And so, hopefully a lot of positive things come out of this run, as they should, even though we lost. Hopefully the downstream effects we continue to feel for years.
And if there is a position where Vladdy can talk to the other team and, sprinkle some of that charm, would be at first base. I mean, it seemed that he was just chatting it up with all of the Dodgers that did make first base, and they all seemed to take to him.
I was going to say, just as a side note, the conversations, I don't know what the hell they were saying, the Japanese guy with the broken English and the Dominican guy with the broken English, but when Vlad and Shohei were having conversations at first base, it was just must-see TV for me. I don't know what they were saying, but I'm sitting there saying, oh my God, this is funny. These two guys are cute having these conversations. It was very animated. So I just wanted to throw that in on a side note. I enjoyed that watching that. Who knows what the hell they were saying? Who knows if they knew what the hell they were saying to each other? But it was just fun to watch. It was must-see TV throughout the series. Just a facial expression between the two.
And honestly, Tony, like I don't know if there is anybody that has this kind of connection with the other team on first base, like and other first basemen, like Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, I think that there are a lot of players who just simply go to the base and they're not talking to the first baseman. And could it be? Could Vladdy have that kind of charisma to maybe strike a connection with the other player while they're on first base? Seasons pass and maybe get him to Toronto. Very, very possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it happens a lot. First base conversations. It's not just Vladdy, but yeah,
sure.
He's got a great infectious personality by the looks of it. But, we don't know the guy personally, obviously, but it seems like he's just got a general love for the game of baseball and respect for opponents as well. And it comes out. It permeates through the screen when you're watching him conduct himself on the baseball diamond.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, guys, why don't we do a little straight facts, bro? Relax. One more time. Little something wrong with the band there. Like they were themselves were in extra innings, like the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh. Anyway, Tony, how about those Pittsburgh Penguins? I mean, nobody thought that they were going to have this kind of season, and hey, 8-4-2, second in the Metro Division. I mean, I don't know about you, but was this kind of start in the cards for Sid and the Pens? You could tell us if this start surprises you, but a lot of people did think that the Pittsburgh Penguins were going to have a down year. Could they be proving the critics wrong? Tony, Pittsburgh Penguins will finish top 3 in the Metro Division this season. Straight facts, bro, relax.
Did you watch the third period of last night's game?
I forgot to tie that in, Tony. Sorry, yeah, but it was just one.
That's a massive bro, relax. They had a great October, which obviously shocked the hell out of me. So far, they're 0-2 in November. They faced some better competition, and you see how it worked out. So one day at a time. I'm enjoying every second of this. It's fun to watch, but I do expect them to fall down there a little bit. But listen, a coaching change is what was needed for them. Giving some young players a chance to play. I'm loving this first round pick who made the team, 18-year-old kid, Ben Kindle. So those are bright spots for me. They just called up their prospect goaltender, young Russian kid. These are the things I want to see as a Penguins fan right now. And I'm sure this is what Kyle Dubas. So, I'm scared that if it gets really, really good and they play really, really well, that he starts to make stupid decisions and he probably would have to accommodate Sid and Gino and Letang for a playoff run. But no, I'm saying, bro, relax. It's a long way to go, and this team is very flawed still, as you saw in the third period of that game last night. Complete domination for 2 periods, had the Leafs at under 10 shots, and inexplicably lost that game in the third period. How? I have no idea. Bro, relax.
Yeah.
Speaking of young guys, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this kid on Arsenal, Max Dallman, today became the youngest player ever to start a Champions League soccer game. 15 years old, and he played for Arsenal today, the best team in the world right now, arguably. And he started for them in the Champions League. 15 years old. Or maybe
Tony,
he didn't start. He played 18 minutes. So there you go.
Tony, sorry to put you on the spot here. Between I I didn't. I don't know anything about this kid. Between him and Lamine Yamal, do you know anything about this kid? Tony Neil's referring to?
Absolutely nothing. No, I don't. That's pretty
Oh,
incredible.
okay.
I know there was a 16-year-old kid who played for Milan a couple of years ago, Camerati. He's on loan right now, but it's incredible. That's an incredible feat.
Good for him.
But no, I had no clue who he was.
Yeah. We'll see him. What's his name again, Neil?
Max Dowman, Dowman.
What?
Plays for
From which
Arsenal.
country?
Oh,
No, yeah,
that I
sure.
couldn't
Do
tell
you know what? Okay, Max Dowman. Cool.
Max
We'll take a
Dowman,
look.
Arsenal. Yeah.
I'm assuming he's British, probably from Arsenal's system.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look very quickly. Let's do it. Max Dowman. Dowman.
Mm-hmm.
Born in Chelmsford, England, in 2009.
Yeah. That was. Oh God, I don't even want to talk about what. Oh man, he was born New Year's Eve too. So what?
Yeah.
What? I
It's
know
pretty much
exactly what I was doing
2010.
New Year's Eve.
2009. Wow.
Yeah, great to be this age, huh, guys? Neil, of course, the Raptors have, I don't know if you want to call it stubbing their toe, but they're starting to pick it up as of late. And what were your thoughts on Brandon Ingram in terms of meshing with this core that included Scotty Barnes, Quickly, Barrett? Brandon Ingram right now is leading the team in points. And he's got a bit of a presence there on the glass, and he's getting his fair share of assists. Could it be the 1-2 punch that the Toronto Raptors needed with Scotty Barnes, or is it going to be a collective effort with Quickly? Could they be a three-headed monster with Barrett as well, and a potential bench with Grady Dick and Mogbo, CMB? With regards to Ingram, Brandon Ingram will be an all-star this year. Straight facts, bro.
This is a very tough one, but I am going to be a homer and say straight facts. There's two reasons for that. One, I've seen Brandon Ingram at his peak, and he only had a very small peak. He had like one season in New Orleans where he was healthy most of the year and not in a shitty situation team-wise, and he balled out. He really was a really fun player to watch. I don't want to use this term, but he kind of looked like a poor man's Kevin Durant, the same gangly type of player, create your own shot, but not quite as quick or maybe athletic as KD, not quite as skilled, but he had a lot of reached 75% of what that was when he was at his peak. And I really thought this was a great opportunity this year for him to rediscover that, because he is in a more stable environment than New Orleans ever was, or he was really young when he was on the Lakers, but New Orleans is itself a trash franchise. We have a good culture here. We have good facilities, good training staff, everything. So I thought it was really set up for him. And it's so far coming true because, he's averaging 23 points a game, more than 5 assists. He's shooting 55% from the field. He's shooting 40% from deep. These are all-star numbers. The only thing that may be lacking right now is a few more wins. But so he's a quiet guy. He kind of is some might say he's a little bit on the he comes across a little bit dopey in his demeanor.
Well, he looks completely sleepy. He looks as sleepy as Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, that, or he's high as hell.
Dopey.
but no, he's a really good player, and he's so far doing well. Now, the fit with the team, I questioned that from the beginning. There's a lot of things about the fit these guys have with each other that I question. There's still a lot of questions I have about this roster and some of the players on it, but Ingram at least is not one of those players that I question right now in what he's given us. And he's been, in my opinion, the best player on our team. Even with Scotty on the team, Ingram's been the best player so far, because Scotty has had, although his highs have been maybe a little bit higher, his lows have been much lower, and Ingram's been more stable. And so all that put together, combined with the fact, maybe even more importantly, that the East is like, Division II basketball compared to NCAA Division I almost, with the West being Division I. It's like the NIT versus the NCAA, to be honest. And so you have less competition for those all-star spots in the East. It certainly wouldn't be an all-star in the West, but in the East, he's got a chance. Straight facts.
He did make one all-star appearance in 1920. We'll see if Brandon Ingram makes his second appearance while as a member of the Toronto Raptors. Guys, it was supposed to be a rather somber edition of this podcast, of course, but the Jays did make it one hell of a ride, and really looking forward to experiencing another championship run in the years to come. Hopefully it won't be 30 years from now and the three of us will be in our 70s. But Tony, Neel, as always, thank you so much for having the chat.
My pleasure.
If that does happen, let's be those three old guys at that time with our hands like this over the edge, waiting for something good to happen. It might just be where we need to be when we finally get one. And then we'll go home.
There's no chance I make.
We'll be too tired to celebrate.
There's
We'll
no
just be like, finally.
Yeah, my joints hurt. There's no way I'm making 70 with the amount of smoke and lack of water I drink. Like, I'll be amazed if I make
we'll win one before then.
Here's hoping. For Tony Antoniou and Neel Katarey, I'm Randy Katarey. This is a Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We will talk to you next time.